So today I'll be working on rewiring, well, disassembling and then rewiring my joystick panel that has 16 buttons, 2 players on each side. And you don't see many videos on this, right? So I'm switching out the standard buttons for this LED button right here that has a switch on the bottom. Now I don't know if you can see, but this switch is actually different from this one. The difference is that on both sides you have a negative and a positive lead. So on this side of the new button, let me just take it out of the package. So if we look at that, you can see there's a negative and there's a positive, right? And that is going to connect to a control board, which I can get over here. So we have a separate control board that's going to control the LEDs. It's right in there. And this is a USB. Let's take it out of the packaging. It's what's called a USB encoder, and it accepts 5-volt 5-volt connection, right? So that's typically USB is a USB cable. It transfers 5 volts. Anything above 5 volts, and I would have had to get what's called a step-down power supply, and then would have had to. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a negative wire here and a positive wire here for each one of these buttons. So for each one of these buttons that this switch, or should I say this switch, will be connected to, there'll be a negative wire, positive wire, and they will go here respectively. And then when I'm done, I'll just plug in a USB cable that'll go directly into the computer. And that's how we get our LEDs. Now I wanted to show you this. So when you open this console up, right, this looks very very convoluted and confusing, but you could really make it simplified. So what I did was, first I drew a little chart like this, right, for both sides, and I numbered it. Real simple, right? So the little chart has, the 8 buttons on each side, and this way, while you're switching out, right, we don't want to disconnect the wires from the switch yet, right? Because I'm also putting graphics on here, so I have to literally take all of the buttons off. They had to come out anyway, right? And so that the front of the console can be flush. So in order to do that, you got to take all the buttons. All the buttons have to come out to put the new buttons in, right? And if you look down in there, you can see the buttons, right? Couldn't really see them before. But what I did is I just put a little numbering system on the switches, right? So this way, as I'm going along, or now I can focus more on just pulling the buttons out. So I started numbering the switches according to my little diagram here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you can see that each switch that was corresponding to each button was numbered, right? So you get yourself a little Sharpie right here, right? And you number each one of the switches. And now, all I have to do now is I could just pull all this back. You see that? I could just pull all that back, move it out of the way, expose the buttons. It doesn't matter if they're all jumbled up over there or not. Let's get our light back in there so you can see the actual buttons. And you see now the buttons are, you know, all I have to do is unscrew the buttons and out they come, and that's it. And you do the same for the other side. Same thing. Pull the switch off. Before you pull it off, or as you pull it off, you number them 1 through 8, and then you move the wires out of the way, and then you can unscrew the actual buttons. You know what? The reason why I did this video is because you don't see many videos on YouTube where people are actually showing you how you can rewire and put in LEDs on a console that you bought that was already wired, right? So the only thing that I'm gonna need to do is, like I said, put this little controller in there, the LED controller, and reinsert the button, right? And then when I put it back in, I will now be able to pull off the switch. Right, so switch 1, I'll be able to pull the wires off of that and just slip them right onto this new switch, right? So I don't even have to worry about, oh, did I get the wiring correct and all that other stuff, because we just numbered it all out. And of course, all of the action of the button is controlled through the original USB encoder, so you don't even have to buy an additional USB encoder or try to figure out, oh, you know, do I need to pull all of this out? And you don't need to go through all of that. You just number the stuff the way that I just did it, and that should be good enough. Same thing with the joystick switches, right? So joystick switches, we're gonna do the same thing. So I have to number these joystick switches because the joysticks also have to come out because of my graphics. Let's do it. So we just say that this one is 1, right? And that one is 2. And this one is 3. And that one is 4. Easy peasy, right? We'll do the same over here, right? We'll do the same thing. 1, 2. Oops. Let's move that out of the way. 3 and 4. So now I could pull the whole joystick. I could take the switches off, and I don't have to be worried, right? When I'm ready to reassemble them, I know exactly where they go. So it's going to take a while, right? And also you need to have the wiring, the correct wiring. So one mistake that I made was I bought the incorrect gauge when I started doing this. The gauge that you need to have is AWG 22, and the number is 1007. That's the gauge of wire that you need to have in order to do your positive wiring. And then with this kit that I bought from Ultimark, this is a daisy chain for the negative, right? So all I have to do is just cut this, terminate it into one of these ends here, and I can daisy chain each one of the switches. So this comes, actually, I think you have to buy that separately when you go to Ultimark. But I will put the description in, I will leave a link in the description field for this video. And this is called a pack. I think it's called iPack or something from Ultimark. Okay, they're in the UK. So, right. And then, you know what? When I'm done with it, I will post a video and show the completed project. Right now, I'm just taking all the buttons out and the joysticks out because I have to get all of this out. I don't think I have to take out the trackball, but we'll see because my graphic will be coming. So, and I'll also give you a link to the graphics place where I designed my own graphic, but I'll give you a link to it. And that way you can you can go on the guy's site. His name is Paul. Go on his site. He's in the UK. I made my own graphic. It was it's a Capcom versus Mortal Kombat graphic, and then I sent it to them so that they could print it on latex for me, vinyl rather. Okay, so that's it. Remember to number your switches as you take a switch out, take it off the button. You just, label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 accordingly, right? But before you do it, just draw yourself like a little diagram so you know what your button scheme, labeling scheme is going to be, and that's it. Now I'm going to unscrew these buttons. I'm going to get these joysticks out of here, and then the next thing is I wait for the graphic to come. And then the wiring has to be done, or actually the buttons put back in, the new LEDs. I have red ones and I have blue ones. So my left side is going to be probably all red, and my right side will be all blue. And that's all I got. See you next video.